Regional integration is crucial for Africa's accelerated development. We must connect landlocked countries to ports. We must allow free movement of people. Investors must be able to invest beyond the borders of countries. And Africa must trade more with itself. Apart and divided, Africa is weakened. Together and united, Africa will be unstoppable. We're delighted that you've all joined us here today in this beautiful country of Equatorial Guinea, a country you will find to be exemplary in terms of infrastructure. Thank you, Your Excellency, President Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, for hosting this year's annual meetings and for your generous hospitality. Please let's give it up to the country for what they've done for us. Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you, Your Excellency, Mr. President, on your new finance minister, a young, bright, and very dynamic 39-year-old economist who had just spoken before me, who used to be a former professor of economics in Spain. My interactions with him showed me that you made a very smart choice, Mr. President. By his appointment, you have demonstrated remarkable confidence in the youth as you build towards the future. Well done, Mr. President. The confidence of the youth can be found when I visited here a place called Tech Campus, an IT and coding boot camp right here in Malabo. There I saw dynamism, resourcefulness, and entrepreneurship of the youth at work and in action. The basketball stadium was jam-packed, not with basketball players, and so that you just know I'm a big fan of Toronto Raptors and I hope they win this game, but with budding young entrepreneurs. The Tech Campus is laying the foundation for what will become the Silicon Valley, or should I say, the Malabo forest of IT in Equatorial Guinea. Among them is Sigfredo, who developed a moving robot and wants to study aeronautics and robotics. 18-year-old Angelica, who created an intelligent stick for the blind and visually impaired. Mateus, who, inspired by the beauty of his country, designed an impressive online digital portal. Celso, who has a well thought out agribusiness idea for processing mangoes and avocados. And Quentin, who is developing a safety and security app for taxi users. And all of that being channeled and directed by a young lady called Olivia. The youth of Equatorial Guinea, just like in other parts of Africa, are the best assets that we have. Mr. President, right here, your youth are your best assets. Mr. President, keep up your determination to invest in the youth. Thank you. When I visited Equatorial Guinea a few weeks ago, and you so warmly received me, despite your having been bereaved at the time, I was so amazed with the level of world-class infrastructure, investments that have been made here for decades under your leadership. I encourage delegates to take some time to visit this beautiful country, amazingly beautiful country, and take in the depths of its vast development. In the process, you will discover, like I did, the Equatorial Guinea that, as they say, you wished you knew. We are delighted that several heads of state are with us here today, including those from Central Africa region. This region is endowed with vast amount of arable lands, forests, abundant water resources, and rich biodiversity, making it easily one of the world's leading treasures of natural resources. This is the first time the bank is holding its annual meeting in this critically important Central Africa region. In the past several years, we have invested over $13 billion in this region. And for every single dollar that we invested, the region has leveraged $36, which means an incredible rate of return of 36 times. Our investments have helped to construct the Central Africa fiber optic networks that connect the population with a faster and less expensive access to internet, and in the process, boosting business and regional integration. Our efforts through the Congo Basin Fund, and many of the donors are here, have helped to preserve forests and biodiversity. We are building a prosperous, climate-smart, and environmentally secure future for Africa. Today, Excellencies, a climate-resilient Africa is now urgent more than ever before. As we all witness the recent devastation that was caused by the cyclones in Mozambique, Malawi, and in Zimbabwe. The African Development Bank rallied support behind these countries by providing immediate disaster relief. And just last week, our Board of Governors approved $100 million in funding to support their rebuilding efforts. The global community must support Africa to adapt to climate change and ensure resilient economies for a greater future. And the future of the African continent is getting brighter. The 2019 African Economic Outlook of the African Development Bank shows general economic performance has continued to recover. Growth is projected at 4% in 2019 and 4.1% in 2020. This is a strong momentum from the growth of only 2.1% posted as recently as 2016. It is worth noting that 40% of African countries are projected to see growth of at least 5% this year, as commodity prices recover and domestic demand and infrastructure investments boost growth. There's excitement in the air on Africa's economic opportunities. And those opportunities are boundless. The newly minted African Continental Free Trade Area will make Africa the largest free trade zone in the world, with combined GDP of over $3.3 trillion. Pulling down tariff barriers alone will spur trade by at least 53%. And with the elimination of non-tariff barriers, trade could easily double. To help accelerate regional integration in Africa, the bank has been at the forefront of the development of critical infrastructure. Let me share with you some of our results, for at the end of the day, it is action and results on the ground that counts. Here in Central Africa region, the African Development Bank is financing the Nachigall Dam in Cameroon, supporting the development of the Inga Dam, and I was here this morning with President Tshisekedi. We're discussing that also in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And we will support Corridor 13 road that will link Congo-Brazzaville with Central African Republic and with Chad. These are all part of the African Development Bank's vision to integrate Africa. Through the African Development Fund, and it's a great fund, and we are grateful to our donors for that support, we finance the construction of the amazing Senegambia Bridge, a dream come true for Senegal and for Gambia. We are doing a lot to interconnect Africa and drive investments into the continent. The African Development Bank is right at the heart of making the African Continental Free Trade Area a success. Trade finance will be crucial for that success. The bank has already invested over $1 billion to support trade finance, which in turn has also helped to support 111 transactions in 43 countries and leverage $7 billion worth of intra-regional trade. We've invested another $1 billion in the Afri-Exim Bank, including $650 million for trade finance lines of credit and $350 million for trade insurance. We've also invested $630 million in the First Rand Bank and the Absa Bank, both of them in South Africa, to support the expansion of access to trade finance for 20 countries. Our work, together with the African Union Commission and the regional economic communities on the Africa Visa Open Index, continues to monitor how Africa is doing on the free movement of people. Progress, Excellencies, has been made, but much work still needs to be done. The Visa Openness Index shows that in 2018, Africans did not require visa to enter 25% of the countries in the region. They can get visas on arrival for 24% of the countries, but they still need visas to enter 51% of the countries. To integrate Africa seriously, we should bring the walls down all across. The free movement of people, and especially labor mobility, will be very crucial for promoting investments. To accelerate investments and mobilize greater resources for Africa, the African Development Bank, together with its partners, launched the Africa Investment Forum.